Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on a Monday morning. I have Phil that will be going over the Homesteaders Life product with us. I'm super excited to have him today. This is a great conversation to have, so we'll get into the meat and potatoes of that here real quick. I'm going to do a short intro to IAMS. I know that I have some of our ongoing producers with us, and I have some newer agents on here too. So just a great reminder of all the different things that we have available to you here at IAMS. If you are a newly producing agent with us, we want to make sure that we thank you for the business that you start out with us with your new contract. And so in the first 6 months, as an incentive, we do offer different levels of production, different bonuses, prizes and cash bonuses. The levels that you're going to see all equate to annuity numbers. So we've got the $100,000 level all the way up to $1 million level. In life insurance premium that, the single premium life should also be the same for the levels that we're talking about. For life insurance, it's going to be 10%. So we got 10,000 of target for the first level, 100,000 for the highest level in the first 6 months. And you can see that there's various things from gift cards, cash, marketing campaigns, leads. You can cash out whenever you want to. So if you hit a level and you're ready to cash out, just let one of your sales directors know and we can get that arranged for you. We also want to, just like your business, referrals are our best agents that we get to work with, but we also want to make sure that we're thanking you for the referrals that you give us. For every new producer that you get send to IAMS and they get their first contract with us, that would be a $50 one-time bonus. Every piece of business they write is going to be extra dollars in your pocket. That is not a haircut off our street level commissions that we are paying the agents or your commissions. This is out of IAMS pocket. So you can see on life, their target premium is going to be credited to you at 0.15%. MIGA is 0.10. As single premium life 0.075 and index annuities 0.20. We also offer marketing reimbursement for every 100,000 of index annuity premium that is placed with us. That's going to equal 100,000 of marketing dollars that you can use in your own anything that you're doing marketing-wise already, but we also have plenty of different marketing programs here at IAMS that can be utilized in our creative team as well. That equals 200 per 100,000 of single premium life, which when we're talking about homesteaders, that's where that's going to fit in, and $200 per 10,000 of target premium. And going back to the referral bonus program, I have several agents that use that as their marketing reimbursement too. It's just added money that they weren't necessarily counting on, and they save that to be their marketing budget along with the marketing reimbursement that they get from IAMS. We are designed at Insurance Agency Marketing Services to be everything that you need in the business. We want you doing what you're best at, which is being out in the field and talking to people that need your help. So we want to make that as easy as possible, from business tools to building your practice, case design from our sales directors, whether that's on the annuity side or the life insurance side. You always have forms at your fingertips using our website, IAMSinc.com. We are going to handle the business. It says submission to commission, but we're actually even further than that. I mean, it comes from the case design and picking the right product, make sure that you have a great presentation, to getting that business submitted, following it all through the baby steps of the underwriting process, getting it paid, and then commission support. And in addition to that, especially with life insurance, there are things after the fact that need to service that business, like change of beneficiaries, getting enforced illustrations, etc. You have access to life and annuity quotes on our website. As a sales director, I do a lot of case design that I can help get you as efficient. If you like to do it yourself, show you the different access that we have to that, or you're always able on the annuity side or the life insurance side to talk to marketing and get those designs for you. We have a tremendous team here on the annuity side and the life insurance side as far as experts in those areas, so you're going to be talking to the best. And then paperless contract is a fantastic way of having access to a lot of companies, but not having to contract with a lot of companies and kind of go as needed with the contracting. A lot of states out there, with the exception of a few, we can contract and write business all at the same time, and paperless contracting makes that a whole lot easier for everyone. Our website is www.iamsinc.com. If you have not registered, I highly recommend that you go ahead and get that done today. We have a lot of excellent sales tools on there all over the place on the website to help out. We have a term and GUL quote. Of course, the website is always accessible. Like we mentioned before, we've got access to forms, underwriting guidelines, standard underwriting information. If you're wanting to know what are we looking at if we have somebody with carotid artery disease or heart disease, HIV, anything like that, we have a whole place to find out those different health concerns and give you more information, industry links, current news on there as well. One of the things I would point out is if you go to support, I believe when you get in there, there is a sales resource library that has a great wealth of information on different presentations, questionnaires, etc. And if you ever want a walkthrough on the IAMS website, any of our sales directors would be more than happy to do that with you and make sure that you're getting the most out of our website. E-application has become a huge deal, especially after COVID. That's maybe one of the best things about COVID is getting processes quicker through e-application and accelerated underwriting processes, and we couldn't do it without these platforms. Firelight is mainly going to be for your annuity apps, although there's a new platform for annuities that maybe some of you are already using through Luma. There's just a few life insurance carriers on Firelight system. Almost everything else is what we uses iPipeline, which is a great platform to submitting business. And then there are a few carriers that we do have to do an e-application. Not sure on homesteaders. Phil will have to fill us in on that. And then Sunfire is what we use for our Medicare business. Here's just a quick rundown of the Firelight. As you can see, Allianz, Augustar, F&G, National Western, Securian, and Centennial are the only ones that we have on the Firelight. Most of them, like Allianz, F&G, Augustar, are mostly on the IGO eApp solutions or the iPipeline system. We have a wonderful creative marketing team, a talented group of people from copy to website to web presence, anything that you can think of, logo design, business card. The best part of our creative marketing team is you could go out, you could find a freelancer or someone to help you with your marketing and all of that. But our level of experience in the financial services is top notch. So it allows cutting out a lot of the payment that you would need to hire someone and recreate recreate the wheel when it comes to how do we market in financial services, what is compliant, etc. Those marketing dollars, like I said, are a great way to utilize our creative marketing service. If you are interested, one way to get a test of our creative marketing team is to do a marketing analysis, either on the life side or the annuity side, combination of both, and do a marketing analysis of taking a picture of where your business is right now, what are you doing for marketing, and then we analyze that, see what needs to be touched up and what needs to maybe be added into your business on where you want to go. That's a free service from IAMS to do that marketing analysis. So please reach out to one of your sales directors if that is something you're interested in. We've created the whole wheel, I believe, with us adding IAMS Wealth Management to not only our base products that we have here at IAMS, annuities, life, long-term care, disability, Medicare, and then we've got the wealth management side of that. IAMS Wealth Management handles anything that would be somebody that's established in the wealth management arena already, or the best part for me is agents, advisors that haven't quite emerged in that side of the business yet. There's different programs that they can help you get that started, help you with passing your tests, and how do you get your relationship established so that you are a wealth manager as well. We are finishing up our 2024 Life and Annuity Academies. We do have one that I believe we are still filling. So if that is of interest to you, please reach out right away to one of your life insurance directors. They are a 2-day seminar covering different marketing topics for life and annuities. We're going to talk about large case design, wealth transfer tools, sales ideas. The best part really is that you get to meet our staff. It's usually held in Omaha, and meet who you're working with. But in addition, meeting all the different agents that are across the country that we invite. I know that sometimes being an advisor is kind of like being on an island, and this is a way to rub some elbows and get some different perspective from producing agents all over the country. And please do follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Phil. All right, I see your mean mug, so
perfect.
You should be good to go.
Well, I guess I'm not gonna share my screen, so if everybody can see me, that's perfect. Thank you, Beth. And a little background on me for everybody. You know, I spent the first 20 years of my career primarily on the annuity side to kind of put this story into perspective, and did over 22 billion of annuities over that time, owned an RIA, a broker dealer. And today I kind of want to share a story. We're gonna have story time today. I'm gonna keep this less than 30 minutes. I want you to imagine with me for a moment that you're a recovering annuity addict, and you wake up one day 6 years ago and you read an article that there's somewhere between 80 and 100 trillion dollars transferring hands over the next 20 years. Almost $100 trillion transferring from one generation to the next. As a recovering annuity addict, I got really excited until I turned the page and read the next article. And what the next article said from wealthmanagement.com, it said that on average, over 66% of beneficiaries will fire their parent's agent or financial advisor immediately upon inheriting wealth. I went, uh-oh. Because my entire career, I had worked supporting financial advisors and insurance agents that did annuities, life insurance, AUM, And if 66% of the assets that they were managing started walking out the door, we can't refill that proverbial bucket fast enough. And I went, uh-oh. And I wanted to know why. So what we're going to talk about today is what I discovered over 6 years ago as to why beneficiaries fire you as the financial advisor, what the main problem is, how we solve that problem and create what we call the hero bridge, how we help you become the hero to that inheriting generation, and then how we integrate that into your business without disrupting everything that you're currently doing successfully. So let's talk about why. Why in the world would the beneficiaries fire you when mom and dad die if they're inheriting 250,000, $500,000, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, whatever the number is? They're getting money from you. Well, we surveyed tens of thousands of agents and advisors, and almost, now it's not 100%, it's in the high 90s. Advisors have consistently told us they do not have a process for connecting with all the beneficiaries before their clients die. Well, you know me, I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. I want to know why. Why not? Well, the easy answer that we got back was, well, could be geographic, right? The beneficiaries live in another state. I don't work in that state. That's too far away, Phil. Okay. Could be demographic. Well, Phil, I don't work with 30, 40-year-olds, so it's not really in my wheelhouse, so I just haven't bothered. Or it could just be the fact that they're too busy. Phil, I'm busy. I got a lot going on. We just don't have time for that. Regardless of what the answer is, again, almost every advisor that we've surveyed doesn't have a consistent process for ensuring they're building a relationship with the beneficiaries before mom and dad pass away. But I thought it had to be more than that. It can't just be that you don't have a relationship. So I kept digging. And what we realized is that the death claims process is a big issue. And if you filed any death claims recently, you've lived through this, and I'll give you tons of stories. But let's talk about what happens when a client dies. Client passes away, beneficiary calls your office. Hey, Beth, it's Phil, mom just passed. And almost every agent advisor says the same thing, right? Oh my gosh, Phil, I'm so sorry for your loss. We love your mother. She was a great client. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you. And almost immediately, every beneficiary says the same thing, either because they want it, need it, or a combination of both. They go, Beth, you were mom's agent. We need money now. Can any financial advisor or agent get the beneficiary's money immediately within 24 to 48 hours after their client passes away? No. What piece of paper other than a claim form do you need to start the process for all the money? You need a death certificate. Now, Amy Bloom, who runs our business development, she's on the call today. She has a list of every state, how long it takes. But what we realized is that I can provide all the facts in the world, but your perception or your client's perception is my reality. So we always ask people, how long do you think it takes to get a certified copy of a death certificate? On the fast end, there are a few states, very few, that it's 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. There's other states that are a month. There's other states that can be up to 6 months. But even if it's 2 weeks, then you're filing a claim. And I'm not going to pick on any particular carriers, but there are 20 business days at best to process fully completed and proper claim packages along with a death certificate. Your 45 to 60 days, best case, a lot of times 90 days or more. So what is the family supposed to do to cover all the expenses when their loved one dies? And I'm not just talking about the F word, funeral, that is. I'm not just talking about funeral. I'm talking about celebration of life. I'm talking about taxes. I'm talking about other bills. I'm talking about flying family members in. The executor is responsible for all these different expenses, easily $20,000, $25,000 for most families, more for others. And there's no money immediately available. So I believe, and we've proven this, when you compound the fact that you don't have a relationship and then you can't get them any money, that is the kiss of death, and that's why the money leaves as soon as they get their hands on it. So let's talk about kind of how we solve the problem. Then we'll talk a little about objections, and then we'll talk really quick about how easy it is to integrate into your platform. And I hope everybody's sitting down watching this, because I'm going to blow your mind here for a second. Here's the good news. It doesn't cost the clients anything to fix the problem. Here's what I mean by that. They don't have to buy a bigger inheritance. They don't have to leave extra money to their family to fix the problem. So as long as they care about their family, and as long as they're leaving some sort of inheritance, we don't ask them to make premium payments to buy more. Here's what our job is, and ultimately your job as well. We help them determine what's the minimum, one of my favorite words, what's the minimum dollar amount their family's going to need for the first 30, 45, 60, 90 days while their estate is in this vacuum period. Time stands still. What's the minimum dollar amount the family's going to need? And then where are we going to reallocate it from? They're already leaving this money for inheritance. We're not leaving them more. We're simply taking that minimum dollar amount that we determine their family's going to need, and we move it from their left pocket to their right pocket. We reallocated it into the beneficiary liquidity plan that does not require a death certificate, and we'll get into the claims process. So that now, on one of the worst days of the family's life, the day the loved one passed away, we eliminated the immediate financial burden by giving the family access to money they were ultimately going to inherit anyways. Clients love us because we're solving a problem, helping their legacy pass the way that they intended without them having to buy more inheritance to solve the problem. So Phil, what vehicle to use? Well, we use a guaranteed issue, single premium, fixed whole life insurance contract with a 119-year-old A-rated mutual insurance company. Now, I know I said the word life insurance, and Beth and I have talked about this before because we all love life insurance, but don't think about this solution in the traditional way you look at life insurance. Think of it like a savings account, but being held at a life insurance company. We still get the tax deferred growth. We still get the tax-free payout at death, but there's no underwriting. There's no health questions. There's no suitability or compliance. It's earning 3.35%, but it's fully liquid at death without a death certificate. So one of the reasons we put the minimum in is if we put too much in and overfund it, we're giving up possible higher returns that you as their agent or advisor could get them in an indexed annuity or MYGA or some other vehicle. But those vehicles don't create immediate liquidity. It looks like a savings account. There is a little bit of death benefit, but I'll go into how we explain that. But it looks like a savings account, grows tax deferred, passes tax free. One of the questions that's usually hit the chat by now is, well, Phil, how do you know I died? Good question, right? Phil, you don't need a death certificate. How in the world do you know I died? Well, we have a patent pending on our death claims process. Last year, by the way, we did the 67,000 times we paid out a claim without a death certificate. The year before that was like 66,000 and change. We've been doing this for a while without a death certificate. Here's how it works. I'm going to oversimplify it, but the family, the beneficiaries, go to any funeral home in America. And mom or dad or client, whomever's there, and the funeral director goes, yep, Phil's dead. That's how we know you died. And we did that 67,000 times last year. We had people die. The funeral director tells us you died. We pay out the claim. That's what we do. Now, we cover the funeral bill for the family, and the excess funds are immediately ACH direct deposited to the named beneficiary or beneficiaries. Now, you'll hear us in our coaching platform that you'll get access to. We recommend the executors, the primary beneficiary on this money. The rest of the inheritance can be split to the grandkids and the kids and whomever else. But this is the money the executor is supposed to use to cover all the expenses when this loved one dies. This isn't like the wealth transfer tool. Now, we still get apps that have a bunch of people on it, and that's fine. We'll take it. But that's not what we coach to. But it's perfectly acceptable. So, single premium guaranteed issue fixed whole life. You just can't be 91. You can be 90. You just can't be 91. The minimum that they can allocate at any one time is $2,500. And the maximum without approval is $135,000. But our average premium for 6 years has been right at that $20,000 to $25,000 mark every single month. We'll get some bigger, some smaller, but that's kind of the sweet spot because that covers the funeral, it covers other expenses without overfunding unintentionally. Now, a family with more money, more expenses, more things going on may allocate more, but again, 25 grand is what most people do. If they can't do the full amount they want, they can do more next year. They can do the more after that, as long as they add at least $2,500 and as long as they're not 91 years old when they add money. And we'll coach you on that. Just know that you can add and do more if the client can't hit their full amount out of the gate. So let's talk about funding, and then let's talk about objections. So funding, again, with my annuity past, we get a lot of free withdrawals from annuities. It works great. The client's got a $200,000 annuity. We pull 20 grand out. We fund the BLP. Next year, if they have a liquidity event, they can access their free withdrawal again. We didn't take away from their liquidity. We get a lot of money from checking savings, money market CDs, because we'll ask people, if you were to die tomorrow, what money would you want your family to use first? And that's typically the asset that we will target. We draft it right out of the client's account. So if they want to do 20 grand, we'll draft 20 grand right out of their account and get it set up. And we'll coach you through that. Super easy. So we use a lot of the assets you already have. Now, let's go through the objections real quick. People will say, well, Phil, I got $1 million of life insurance. I love life insurance. Life insurance does some amazing things. But unfortunately, the one thing that traditional life insurance doesn't do is create immediate liquidity at death. It requires a death certificate, including annuities, and a claims process, and doesn't solve this immediate need for money for your family. Well, Phil, we went down to our estate planning attorney, and my son, Johnny, got set up as financial power of attorney. I think that's a great tool to have, by the way, in your estate plan. But unfortunately, when you die, financial power of attorney dies with you, does not work after you die. Doesn't work. Well, Phil, that same time we did the financial power of attorney, we set up a living trust or revocable trust, depending on what words you like to use. And Johnny is our successor trustee. By the way, I love it when people have done estate plans because that means they care about their family, because you don't do estate planning for yourself because you'll be dead. You do it for your family. So they're already right in line with solving this for their family. And I educate them that I love that you've done estate planning, but unfortunately, what piece of paper is Johnny going to need to take to that attorney to start the process of becoming the successor trustee? A death certificate. That living trust, revocable trust, does not create immediate liquidity. There's a process to that and involves a death certificate. Phil, we went down to the bank, or we went with our investment advisor, and we set up all of our non-beneficiary accounts with TOD or POD, transfer on death or payable on death. Which, by the way, I highly recommend that all your non-beneficiary accounts be titled TOD or POD. Why? Because that avoids probate. But what piece of paper do you need to take to that financial institution to start the process of transferring that money on death? A death certificate. Seen a trend here? A death certificate. And last but not least, final expense insurance. You read the asterisks, even the ones that say they pay claims in 24 to 48 hours. When you read the asterisk, it says we pay claims in 24 to 48 hours after receiving the death certificate and claim work properly paid out. So it's not there immediately for the family. And then we always come back full loop and go, your family can probably figure it out, right? Because for generations, we all figured it out and we didn't have a beneficiary liquidity plan. But we're solving this problem without it costing you money simply by allocating some of the inheritance that you're already earmarked for them to have, but setting it up properly where they can actually get to it when they need it most. We don't get a lot of objections from clients on that if they truly care about their family. And I'm going to show you how we tee that up. Okay, so we went through the problem. No access to money. Beneficiaries fire you. Families can't access it. We went through the solution. Single premium whole life with Homesteader's Life. We don't require a death certificate. We paid out over 67,000 claims just last year in 2023 without a death certificate using our patent pending death claims process. We talked about the 7 or 8 things that people think they've put in place that just don't work and how we educate them that they don't work. So Phil, how do I broach this conversation with my clients and how do I do an application? What's the commission, etc.? So we created a 5-question survey that we will custom brand to you. IAMS has their own copy. It's just a little PDF, and then we have a digital version. 5 yes/no questions that you ask your clients to check the boxes. And Amy Bloom, who's on the call, if you get contracted, she'll schedule an onboarding call to go through our shortlist sprint on how to help you make 20, 30 grand in the first 2 weeks following our process, and then how we sustain that over time in your practice. 5-question survey gets the clients to admit they care about their family, gets them to admit they don't want to be a burden, and then they tell us the dollar amount they'd want their family to have access to when they die. And we simply go through those questions, yes/no boxes. We get them to expand, share their own stories. And then when we get to that last question, and it's worded very specifically, it's worded, how much of your inheritance? See, I'm already throwing that subliminal in there that we're not asking you to buy more. How much of your inheritance would you want your family to access immediately, assuming the average funeral is $15,000, additional affairs are $10,000? And we give them dollar amounts. So we've already got them to admit they care. We've already got them to admit they don't want to be a burden. And then when we ask them, well, Beth, we asked you how much of your inheritance you'd want your family to access, and you marked 50 grand. First off, how did you come up with that number? Why'd you pick 50 grand? I want to know what they're thinking. But then if you were to die tomorrow, in your mind, how would your family access $50,000 immediately in 24 to 48 hours? We've done this tens of thousands of times. There's 3 things clients do. Stare at you and say nothing. You're probably used to that sometimes. Stare at you and go, well, Phil, I guess you're getting ready to tell me. Or I love it when they say, Phil, I already got that covered. We're good. And guess what I say? Tell me how. I already know there's like 8 things they can say. I already know that they don't work well. And then we lead right into, but the good news is, Mr. and Ms. Jones, it doesn't cost anything to really fix the problem correctly. We're going to help you determine what's the minimum dollar amount. Maybe it's not 50, maybe it's 25. And where we're going to reallocate it from, and we're going to go from your left pocket to your right pocket into the beneficiary liquidity plan, so that now one of the worst days of your family's life, the day you pass away, we eliminated the immediate financial burden by giving them access to money they were ultimately going to inherit anyways. That's all we do. But I cannot emphasize enough how important our simple 5-question survey is. You cannot skip that step. I know it looks simple. Everything we do is simple by design, but that 5-question survey, even if you've known the client for 20 years, get the 5 boxes checked. It is the gateway into this conversation, and it sets up the whole thing. And all of our training's on video. All of our scripts are printed off, or you can watch them. So whatever your learning style is, we have all that built out. That's the pros and cons of only doing one thing for over 6 years. You get really good at it. We've perfected our scripts and our process and everything that you need. And we're not going to disrupt your annuity life AUM business in the process. 90% of our business comes from your existing clients. And a lot of times it's people you're already going to see anyways. You just added the 5-question survey before the meeting, and you have a 10-minute conversation at the end of your meeting. Now, Beth was talking about eApps earlier. We have our own eApp platform. Even without the eApp, our app was 3 pages. I know that probably sounds shocking, since most of your apps are probably like 68 pages. Name, address, social security number, date of birth, who's your beneficiary, what bank account are we drafting, and whether or not there's a replacement form needed with that state. Now, remember early on, I talked about how we're going to help you build a bridge to the inheriting generation. So we trademarked Hero Bridge. And so we pay you to build the Hero Bridge. Here's how. On delivery, not point of sale, on delivery, we teach you how to be introduced to the beneficiaries. Hey, Johnny, I'm Phil. This is a golden ticket. This is 25 grand. When something happens to mom, you need to call me first. This money's going to be immediately available. Oh, and by the way, because mom and dad are such great clients, if there's ever anything we can do for you, even if it's as simple as answer a 401k allocation question at your work, please don't hesitate to call. We'd love to be of service. Now, we took it one step further. On the application, when the client puts in the beneficiaries, there's a little box that says okay to contact. If they mark that it's okay for homesteaders to contact their beneficiaries, we will send an annual reminder to the beneficiaries, reminding them that this plan is in place, and to reach out to you, the agent, with your contact information if they need to file a claim, if they have any questions, or they need anything else financial services related. We're helping you continue that bridge, with the goal being that when something happens to your client, you have some connectivity with the beneficiaries. You're now the hero showing up with 25 grand, 30 grand, whatever the dollar amount is. So remember that claim phone call earlier where I'm sorry for your loss. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Now it's, I'm sorry for your loss. Here's 25 grand. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. When things settle down, come back in the office. We'll help you process all the claims. We'll make sure you pay as little tax as possible, that we get the money moved to you as quickly as we can. But for now, go celebrate mom. Here's the money you're going to need. Completely different dynamic. And we pay you to build the bridge. Now, I don't have all the commissions memorized. We'll share those with you, but I know 0 to 75 is 10%. So on a $25,000 deposit, that's $2,500. That's pretty good for a 10 to 15 minute conversation from your existing clients. And Beth has a great email. So if you're interested, reach out to IAMS. They can get you set up through Cheryl C. Contracted. It's super simple. They can get you the brochure. They can get you the 5-question survey, the commission schedules, and all the things. But once you get contracted, Amy Bloom, who runs our business development, will set up a call to take you through a demo of the eApp, make sure you're comfortable, go through the 5-question survey. She's going to do something called a shortlist sprint. She's going to help you come up with a list of about 5 to 10 clients that you think are a good fit, and how we're going to reach out to them with the 5-question survey to get this started for you. I can't say it enough. The 5-question survey, again, in my 25 years of doing this business, the 5-question survey makes more money for the agent per minute than anything else I've ever done. Don't underestimate its simplicity. It works. Our scripts work. Because again, we've only done one thing for 6 years now. We've perfected it. We've done it tens of thousands of times. I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any questions on there. So thank you, everybody, for your time. We really want to help you solve this problem, not only for your clients and their families, using money that they're already leaving as inheritance. But we really want to help you as the agent and the advisor build that bridge, that hero bridge to the inheriting generation. And we want to pay you handsomely to build that bridge. So Beth, I will stop there. I don't know if you want to wrap it up, or if we're done. I think I'm right at my 30-minute mark.
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to add is the next generation wealth is a huge thing. When I writing insurance myself, part of the great part about the life insurance is if someone dies, then you're going to be the one, hopefully, that's managing the money that comes to them in the form of death claim. And that bridge, if you don't have it, can make big problems. Just a couple of things that have happened to me personally is somebody that had, and it happened to me, my dad, he was a life insurance producer, and he always put a common disaster clause on all of his beneficiaries. So when my dad died, we had to wait. In some of the cases, he had a 60-day waiting period for not only, waiting for the death certificate, but 60 days before they would even entertain that claim because of the common disaster clause. I've had a few claims of 2-year contestability, that if you die in the first 2 years, they're going to contest that claim. That can break a relationship too by having this. I've had people put this on the uninsurable kids, maybe it's autism, juvenile diabetes, things like that make them uninsurable. This is a great way to get money saved for their, everybody's going to die someday, so this is a great place to put it. And it, you're going to be building something with it by doing that as well. Death certificates, multiple times, 8 or more weeks that I've seen that death certificates take to be there for us to settle claims. But more importantly, that money, even for the funeral home, planning a few funerals myself, the funeral home is very interested where the money's coming from, so that having that is a tremendous help. And
services are rendered.
Yeah, and so for the mere fact of being able to manage those funds when they are going to a beneficiary, that is huge. So definitely, when we do have an agent that uses a different product, I like this one way better, but he's one of our top producers, and he always brings this up, and it builds a great relationship with the beneficiaries. Number one, it makes the time of death so much easier for everybody when everybody's going through a hard time, and he gets way more money and assets by adding a piece to the puzzle by using this concept.
Awesome. Thank you, Beth. And as far as like limited distribution, we have, I believe we're right around 300 agents by design. So not everybody in your town is going to be talking about BLP. We work with advisors and agents that see the problem, want to fix the problem, versus the masses like some of the other insurance carriers. And IAMS is one of the only IMOs that we work with in the country, going back to some of our relationships with Chris Conroy and some of the other executives. So they're one of the only organizations that have access to the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan, again, by design.
Hey, so one question I always get, if you could address, is an illustration.
Great question. So we don't do any illustrations. There is a little increase in death benefit that's required by the NAIC to be considered tax-free death benefit. We used to present that early on, and clients got hung up on, well, Phil, where did this $900 come from? How did they come up with that? Where did it come from? What we realized was that clients understand dollar for dollar. If I have 20,000 and I put 20,000 in, and I present it as your 20,000 is going to earn 3.35, they understand that because that looks like a CD, it looks like a savings account. You don't illustrate CDs, you don't illustrate savings accounts, right? It's just the rate is what the rate is. On delivery, we then can show them the increase in 900 or 1,000 or 2,000, whatever it is. And that money earns the 3.35. So then we're selling it more as a bonus on delivery than at point of sale, because clients really got hung up at point of sale. And we're not buying it for the death benefit. We're buying it for the liquidity. So we do not have any kind of illustration or anything that shows that. It ends up in their policy and they see it on delivery. Great question.
I don't see any other questions. Do you, Phil?
I do not. So I think the next steps are people get contracted with IAMS. You know, they'll get the top contract. I love how their first 4 policies, if they wrote $25,000 policies, qualify them for either the bonus money or that first tier of incentives that you guys have. I think that's a huge additional Kickstarter on top of just the amount of commissions that they can make in the first couple of weeks. So that would be my recommendation: is get set up, work. Amy Bloom on our team will reach out. She'll get you through the eApp, get you the survey, and come up with your short list, and you'll be off to the races. And I just encourage you to follow our process, because we've perfected it over the last 6 years and we know it works, and just trust in that. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how easy it is and how much revenue you can generate from your existing clients just by following our simple process. So thank you, Beth, for having me again.
Yeah, thank you. I have 3 polling questions. If you guys don't mind hanging on, I'll do them real quick. One is if you would like to learn more about IAMS Wealth Management. The next is if you'd like to attend an upcoming life or annuity academy. And lastly, if you'd like more information on the Beneficiary Liquidity Plan that we talked about today.
I vote yes.
And we will we do have all the information that Phil talked about. I have a quick email I can send out. Phil, I don't think I have the up-to-date questions on the 5 that you listed. If you don't mind sending that to me, that would be
Most
awesome.
certainly. I'll do it as soon as we hang up.
All right, everyone. You enjoy your Monday. Thanks, everybody, for being with us, and especially Phil. I really appreciate it. This was a great topic to go over. Have a great week.
Thanks, Beth. Bye.